Yeah, he has an ability that instantly kills you if you're on low HP, he says to the level 3 players. I was part of a campaign that ran for about 8 months. And I decided to write about it because it was the anniversary of it starting recently. For many of us, it was the first D&D campaign we'd ever been part of. So it took us some time before we picked up on the serious flaws within the DM and his methods. In the first session, there was around 5 of us. I can't remember the full party, but I was a rogue. We were level 3. We were employed by a town to handle monster issues that had been rising in the forests and ruins not far from it. So, we ventured into the forest. The first red flag here that we didn't pick up on, but in hindsight, seems so obvious, is that he had created a large map, but there wasn't really much on it, and we had to manually move our PCs around the map until we stumbled upon the 2 or 3 things we could interact with. So of course, we split up. I was with one other player, and we found a trapdoor that took us down to some sort of bandit idiot. However, there was evidence of battle, and the only living person there was in shock and refused to let us near him, threatening us with a flintlock pistol. He didn't object to us moving around the idiot, though, for some reason. We moved over to some chests that looked like they hadn't been looted. Elsewhere, the other 3 PCs had encountered a large undead creature in a robe that stood watching them. At the same time, I opened a chest in the bandit idiot. It disappeared. This was because it instantly teleported into the room with me. It then proceeded to roll with a +10 initiative modifier. Another red flag. It used its turn to bring 4 of the corpses in the idiot to life and move towards the other player with me. Meanwhile, the other 3 PCs on the surface were searching for us and would eventually make it into the idiot at the start of the next round. Yeah, they found us in 6 seconds. One of the zombies then took a turn, attacking me. The DM announced it rolled a 17 and hit. He then rolled at least 6 dice and told me I took coincidentally enough damage to put me to 1 HP from a single attack at level 3. I knew that with just one other person with me, I wouldn't have been able to survive long out in the open. So I elected to hide, disengaging and running around a corner, jumping into a chest and closing it. Another coincidence, inside was a single potion and nothing else. Before my next turn, to try and drink it, as maybe it was a health potion, the party was fighting and managed to stun the boss undead creature. Now I think about it, our first combat encounter was a boss. The DM then turned to me and said it's lucky he is stunned this turn. He has an ability that lets him teleport to you and instantly kill you if you are on low HP. Since I didn't want to die, that left me no option but to try and drink the potion I found. The DM asked me to roll a percentile die. I rolled 100. This was my first dice roll of the campaign. The DM laughed and started looking through his notes. Not kidding, he had a good page and a half about this potion, which coincidentally appeared next to me in our first ever encounter. You are restored to full HP, but you find yourself no longer in the chest. You are standing in a vast plain. You can see stars all around you. He then proceeded to describe how a great cosmic entity approached me and demanded that I serve it to gain power. I started thinking that this sounded like a poorly thought out warlock backstory, but I stuck through it. Maybe this was the start of the real main plot of the campaign. No, it wasn't. It became my entire character's development for half of the game, which included forcing her to engage in evil acts for no reason other than I said so. Eventually, the party wins the combat and obtains a powerful magic item from the remains of the undead creature. I believe this was on the level of a +2 weapon. At the inexperience we had, we didn't realize how out of place this was. They find the chest my character is in and free her from strange black vines, and we left the forests. I wish I could say that I didn't attend any sessions after that, but no. The next 8 months went on as I didn't have any other people to play D&D with, and progressively it got worse and worse. I may follow this up with a part 2, especially since that cosmic entity plotline got really messed up. The time we were tucked in a separate campaign. I posted a story yesterday about my old DM and his cutscenes, but I mentioned some of his other infractions. Well, this is one of them. However, the worst part is that it involves a different group We weren't even the ones playing, but we heard the stories. This takes place after his campaign with us ended. At that point, he was part of our new group for a while, thinking he would act different as a player. He did, but he became that guy and eventually we continued without him. So he found a new group. A bunch of his friends from another group, a few of them mutual friends, had decided they wanted a shot at Pathfinder 2. So he became the DM for them. Since he's a movie aficionado, and since he thought his first campaign was such a great success, he thought he could capitalize on a sequel. A sequel involving our old characters. Basically, he went around to all of us and asked if we would be fine with having our old characters debut in his sequel. I said fine, but a few of my groupmates said no. It didn't matter, he used all of them anyway. Quick explanation of the setting. After our last campaign, the BBG died, and we saved the world from destruction. All of our old characters split from the group and followed their own goals. Thanks to our fame for saving the world and our power, we all became leaders in our field. One character founded a steampunk city, another became Queen of Valkyries, another became a roaming halfdaman with ties to hell, another became King of the Dwarves, another the leader of his paladin order. My character, being the last druid of his kind, it was a plot point of the previous campaign, revitalized the druid order. However, apparently the BBG wasn't truly defeated, and this new group of adventurers needed to defeat him. Thanks to the old group having too much responsibility and other problems of their own that I'll mention in a moment, it all falls on the new adventurer's shoulders. So, I don't know if he had some grudge against us for continuing playing without him, or if the DM Murder Harbo would have done this anyway, but he systematically killed off each of our old characters. The Queen of Valkyries died at war, the King of Dwarves was assassinated by the BBG cult, leader of Paladin Order became corrupted and was killed by the players. Halfdaman became full demon and was killed by the players, while my character had a feud with the steampunk city guy and we each killed each other. He killed us off, every single one of us. What irks me most isn't necessarily that I was killed off, as I kinda expected it from him, but how I was killed off. He didn't consult us on anything our characters did in game. He just came around to ask if he could use the characters. This meant that all characters were what he imagined them to be, not what they actually were. The weird part was he got my character exactly right. He would do anything to protect nature. Murder, torture, genocide, destruction. You name it. So long as his domain was safe. Unfortunately, my domain bordered with the steampunk city, and the PC that started the city wanted to expand. The guy who played that character told me that he would have expanded the other way, and would never have betrayed his allies regardless, especially knowing how ruthless and powerful me and my druids were. The players of the group were apparently on my side, and went with me and a group of the druids to confront the city leader. Here's how it went down. The city guards were expecting us, and it turned into an allied urban battle. Eventually me and the city leader meet up, and the DM starts one of his patented cutscenes. The players were told they couldn't interfere, so despite being in the room the DM didn't allow them to do anything. He starts an elaborate fight scene between the two of us, and I end up killing the guy. But it turns out he poisoned me before he died, and there was no cure. So I died too. He ignored a few things. 1. The guy was an old ally of mine, and he didn't even have us talk. Just went straight to trying to kill each other. Not entirely out of character for me, but way out of character for the other guy. That and it made the encounter between old friends and enemies so bland. 2nd, he made the players sit back. I talked to a couple of them, and they said they would have gladly stepped in to help my character, but the DM wouldn't let them. 3rd, druids in Pathfinder are immune to poison. It's one of their class abilities. He didn't even bother to read about the class of one of his NPCs. Anyway, that's the story of my old DM, who decided to kill us off after we beat his campaign. The way we all died was so anticlimactic and lame that it made us think it was some kind of a mature revenge tactic against us. But if it's any consolation, all the players of the new group were pissed after my character died. They loved that character,